1992 with a 4-game season and a win over Georgia Tech's first ever edition of the Yellow Jackets. The tradition grew in 1896 when Auburn students greased the railroad tracks that would carry the Tech train. Unable to stop, it slid 5 miles past the station, and Tech players, coaches, and fans had to walk back to Auburn. The tradition of the Auburn War Eagle goes even farther back, to the Civil War, in fact. And every year since 1898, they've held the Rec Tech Parade as students march through the streets in their pajamas, just like their turn-of-the-century counterparts who slipped out of their boarding house, headed for the train station, and a permanent spot in the tradition of football. The dream started with the legendary John Heisman. He coached at both schools, coming to Auburn in 1895 and moving to Tech in 1904. And it continues with the trophy that bears his name. It may be headed back to Auburn in the possession of the Tigers' Bo Jackson. Trying to block that road to destiny today, the Black Watch, the heart of Georgia Tech's defense. It's a tradition as old as college football in the South itself, as Auburn meets Georgia Tech on CBS.
It's Auburn versus Georgia Tech. Today's game is sponsored by your Toyota dealer, the 1986 Celica. Totally redesigned for more performance and style. Who could ask for anything more? AC Delco, the smart parts. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this.
4th and 10 will punt the football away. Weigand on the return for Auburn. He's got a chance across the 50 into Georgia Tech territory at the 42. Second time that Auburn has had the football. Georgia Tech kicked off. Auburn picked up 1 first down, but the Black Watch defense held. And now you have seen Georgia Tech punted away after 3 straight incompletions. Mike Snow, the punter, had to make the tackle on Trey Gaines, the return man. And Auburn in good shape for its second possession. Steve?
Well, the important aspect of the ball game is that everybody's concentrating on Bo Jackson. I think it's going to be the key of being able to watch John Dewberry on offense. Bo Jackson will get his yards just by the nature of the person he is.
Jackson on the first possession had 3 carries for 11 yards. There he goes again, and once again that Black Watch defense is there to stop him after a gain of only about 2. Auburn fumbled on its first possession, but the Tigers were able to recover. And turnovers have been a problem for this offense, Steve.
Well, generally when you're in an offense like the rushing offense, you're going to have the ball turned over a little bit. I think 2 aspects. The rushing aspect in terms of the high emotion that you expect in the ball game. You've got to keep those turnovers down to a minimum.
2nd and 8. Bo Jackson, the deep man in the eye, cuts it upfield. Ken Parker, the first man to hit him, and he reaches the 35-yard line. It's a gain of 5, and still you hear the cheer from the Georgia Tech fans as the defense hung in there. The backfield has Pat Washington, the senior quarterback. He's their leader. Jackson, the man who will get the ball almost all the time. When he doesn't, Tommy Agee, number 30, the fullback, will get it. A very dangerous runner. And Ron Middleton is normally in there as the H-back, sort of a second tight end in their set, along with the regular tight end, Jeff Parks. Right now they have 2 wide receivers in. Gaines, number 19, and Freddie Weigand, number 14. And this is Middleton in motion. Jackson on the sweep. Very close to the first down, but it looks like they will mark him short. And the tackle made by Anthony Harrison, the free. And Pat Dye has no problems going for 4th and 1. He's already done it several times, Steve.
Well, I think that anytime you've got a prolific back in the backfield in Bo Jackson, the problem is you don't want to be so obvious with Bo Jackson. Sometimes use him as a decoy. Everybody in the stadium anticipates Jackson will get the ball.
2 tight ends on 4th and 1. It looked like Auburn moved early. Looked like the right side of that Tiger line got off the ball a count ahead of the snap. And it will go against the Tigers. That'll make it 4th and 6, and this is a more difficult decision.
Well, no, I don't think it's that difficult. You're going to punt the ball away. What it represents, it's not a turnover, but it's a crucial mistake. Rather than be 4th down and 1, now they're 4th and 5, have to punt.
Ball. Illegal procedure on offense. Lineman raising up.
Bo Jackson has already carried the ball 6 out of 8 plays from scrimmage for the Tigers, and he has 20 yards, and that will make him the most prolific ground gainer in the history of Auburn football, and they have had some great ones. Lewis Colbert on to punt, the nation's leading kicker, averaging more than 47 yards a kick. And deep to receive for Georgia Tech is Corey Collier. He probably will not get a chance to run this one back. Going for the corner, and they'll get it. Marked now outside the 5, and they'll stop at the 7-yard line. Lewis Colbert pins them deep in their territory with 9:59 to go. We'll be back after this. You're joining us in progress because of the runover of the Ohio State-Purdue game. We are scoreless here with Georgia Tech and Auburn, 9:59 to go. Georgia Tech 1st and 10 from its own 7-yard line. John Dewberry at quarterback, and he'll pitch it to Jerry Mays, trying to get outside, and no luck at all. Mays run out of bounds by that big defense led by Gerald Williams, the right tackle, the senior from Valley, Alabama. Mays has been quite a story the last couple of weeks, gained more than 300 yards. Georgia Tech was the only major college to offer him a scholarship, and they are very, very happy they've done it now. Pat Dye, the head coach at Auburn. No coach has ever had more success in his first 4 years. Dye now in his 5th with a 4-1 record coming in. 2nd and 8 for Georgia Tech. Gary Lee is the man in motion. This is Jerry Mays. Mays hit hard as he reached the 15-yard line, but a good gain for the Yellow Jackets. Edward Phillips, the linebacker, in on the stop. Linebackers do not make a lot of tackles for this ball club. Very unusual. It's their down linemen who do most of the damage. Tracy Rocker, the left tackle, Harold Harmon, the nose guard, and Gerald Williams, the right tackle. 3 of the top 5 tacklers on the ball club. 3rd and a yard for Georgia Tech. They have yet to have a first down. Their first possession, they threw 3 straight incomplete passes. Mays in motion and Dewberry to throw. And it's complete, and it should be enough for a first down. John Dewberry with those passes under the zones hits his tight end Tim Mannion, Arthur Johnson, and Russ Carricker, the linebacker, in on the stop.
Gerald Williams, 98, is the #1 tackler on this defensive football team of Auburn. Here's the frustration of being a pass rusher. You've got to be a relentless. You've just got to keep plodding away, pushing and struggling. Oftentimes you come up with nothing.
First down of the ball game for Georgia Tech. Mays again in motion. They'll give it to King, the fullback. King doesn't get much. Tracy Rocker, number 74, the first man to hit him, along with Phillips, 46, the linebacker. There's Bill Curry, and they have done a wonderful job here at Georgia Tech by letting him rebuild this program his way. In 6 years, he has a 21-37-2 record, but he has Georgia Tech on the verge of being back where it belongs in big-time college football. 2nd and 8 after a gain of 2 from King, the fullback. Dewberry on the option, no dice. And waiting for him was Gerald Robinson, the left end, and Dewberry had nowhere to go.
One of the things about Georgia Tech's offensive concept this week is that they have not shown the option play all season. They felt like they needed to take a little bit of attention out of the rushing lanes on Dewberry in the passing game, so make them think a little bit more on the outside about the run. Dewberry is not a prolific option quarterback by any means, but the point is the threat of it. You will cause your cornerbacks, your perimeter people to stay at home more often.
3rd and 8. 2 wide receivers in the ballgame. Here is a draw. It's Charles Mack, the fullback, across the 30 to the 31. He has another Georgia Tech first down. Nice call by the Georgia Tech coaching staff. They know that big pass rush was coming.
Well, you anticipate that Georgia Tech has to throw the football, so that will create opportunities for the draw play. Oftentimes, the hard rush of Auburn that they're known for in the passing game, he gets an excellent block on the outside. He's able to break into the secondary. With a hard pursuing defense, the draw play is very effective.
Georgia Tech out of the eye. This is Corey Collier into the ballgame for the first time. He gets outside. Corey Collier almost had a chance to break it. Just tripped up by Edward Phillips, number 46. And if Phillips doesn't get him, it's off to the races for another member of that microchip backfield. He's only 5'7".
two aspects of the game that I think are very important early is the emotional aspect of Georgia Tech. I think the emotion is on their side of the field. Plus, offensively, they have to play what the coaches say, unconscious football, play above their ability. Emotion provides that opportunity oftentimes.
Georgia Tech on a drive that started from their own 7-yard line has reached the 46. Dewberry, an all-ACC quarterback. To Mays, back into tailback. Mack could not get his man out of the way, and it was Phillips and Russ Carricker, 46 and 47, to knock him out of bounds. Let's go to New York for an update.
Mike, Syracuse has been throwing short most of the day, but here they go up top. Don McPherson to Mike Ciano. 45 yards later, Syracuse is up on top 20-17 with under 6 minutes left, and the Orange have the ball. Let's go back to Mike and Steve.
6 minutes, 43 seconds to go in the quarter. We're scoreless between Georgia Tech and Auburn, but Georgia Tech on a drive at their own 49-yard line. 2nd and 7. Lee is in motion. They'll give it to the fullback. That's Malcolm King, the sophomore from Americus, Georgia, into Auburn territory for the first time today. Andre Bruce, number 93, was in on the stop along with Pat Thomas.
The Auburn coaching staff on defense really felt like, Mike, that Georgia Tech was not a sustained drive-oriented football team that they would have to take at the distance. They're starting at the 7-yard line. They've gobbled up the yards and the time, and I think that's a point that really will be in the confidence-building category for Georgia Tech.
Plus, it keeps Bo Jackson off the field.
Exactly.
Clock turning with 6:10 to go, first quarter. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. Dewberry on the option, lost the football. And Auburn looks like they have it in Tech territory. That's a mistake you do not see John Dewberry make very often, but he made it that time.
Well, he's out of his element a little bit. Running the option play is not what John Dewberry is really known for.
6 minutes to go, first quarter. We are scoreless. Georgia Tech and Auburn from Grant Field in Atlanta.
John Dewberry doesn't have the experience of running the option play. This is the first time they've shown it. It's the counter option. He goes down the line. Andre Bruce, 93, strips him of the ball. He almost recovered it, and then the ball bounces away, and they give it up. There it is at the end of the play. Gerald Williams falls in the ball.
Auburn with its 3rd possession of the ball game, and A.G., the fullback, goes straight up the middle, got maybe a yard. Georgia Tech's defense has been tough this year, especially giving up points. They rank 8th in the country, allowing only 12.4 points a game. And on total defense, they're giving up 301.8 yards a game. That is 20th in the country. Auburn's defense, incidentally, is 10th. This is 2nd and 8. 2 wide receivers. They'll run out of the eye. Parks is the tight end, and Washington wants to throw under pressure. Floats it sideline. Rutland had it right in his hand and dropped it. Reggie Rutland had the ball, hit him in the chest. The pass was intended for Trey Gaines, but that one was way underthrown. And look at Rutland shake his head.
So many times in any aspect of sport, you have a tendency where you know you're going to put it away. You're going to get the slam dunk. You're going to drive it to the baseline in tennis, whatever the sport might be. You're so ready for it, and then all of a sudden you choke on it. And that's exactly what happened.
Reggie Rutland wondering how he could have missed that one. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. And they'll give it to A.G., the fullback. He'll get 2 and be way short of the first down. And that Georgia Tech Black Watch defense has held again. Ralph Malone, number 95, made the stop on the junior from Maplesville, Alabama.
Georgia Tech is playing with the intensity that the coaches really felt like they would. That is never a problem when you're playing against a highly ranked team or a team that has a prolific runner to get ready for it. Sometimes, I think Rutland's case, it was the over-emotion, the over-anticipation of maybe getting the ball.
Colbert comes in to punt. That's Corey Collier, number 25, waiting at his own 10-yard line. Last time, Colbert was able to put the ball out of bounds at the 7. We'll see if he goes for the corner again. And he may have gotten another one. And the official will mark it at the 14, between the 14 and the 15-yard line, and Georgia Tech will start from there. So once again, the Ramblin' Wreck will not have good field position. 4:29 to go first quarter. We're still scoreless. 4 minutes and 29 seconds to go first quarter. Georgia Tech pinned deep in its own territory once again at the 14-yard line. John Dewberry, the quarterback. That's Davenport, number 26 in motion. Dewberry fumbled again. And it looks like he got it back. John Dewberry fighting with the nose guard, Harold Hallman, trying to recover that fumble, and there is a flag down.
Hallman jumped off sides.
It makes the handoff a little tough.
Yeah, especially when he's in your backfield.
And has you around the throat.
Here's the end of the play. Hallman really lunged forward before the ball was snapped.
Encroachment on the defense. First down and 5.
Watch Mr. Hallman inside number 94. He's through the line of scrimmage and almost, he wanted to take the handoff from Mr. Dewberry.
Well, he's quick, but he's not that quick.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Hallman, a member of the Marine ROTC at Auburn, and they say he plays the way the Marines go after an island. First and 5. This is Mays trying to get outside. He has room. Across the 30 to the 34-yard line. First down for Georgia Tech, and it was Ben McCurdy, number 52, who had to make the tackle after a 14-yard carry for Jerry Mays.
Today we'll see a lot of sweep plays and variations from both sides of the ball, both Auburn and Georgia Tech. This time Jerry Mays, number 20, the freshman, he sets up his opportunity. Watch him give it an inside fake, then break outside. Really stretches the defense and stretches those lanes of pursuit by being able to create an opportunity, then break again.
Mays comes out of the ball game, and number 25, Corey Collier, comes in. This is Davenport in motion, who threw a good block on the last play. King, the fullback, tripped up as he crossed the 35 to about the 36-yard line. And getting up off the bottom of the pile is Andre Bruce.
Sorry, Mike. One of the things that Georgia Tech is doing right now, they're changing the strength of the formation almost in every play. And what they want to do is take the emotional aspect out of Auburn's defense, make them be very basic in their adjustments and their coverage. You can't play real emotional when you're a little bit confused.
And this is the defense that held Ole Miss to a total of 9 yards. Total offense. Collier on a little swing. 40, 41, what a shot he took. Tom Powell and Kevin Porter, and Powell is as good as there is at a free safety, and he nailed Corey Collier.
What happens, Auburn gets tied up inside, thinking it's going to cross the middle, then all of a sudden real quick to Collier on the outside. They're really trying to stretch this Auburn defense, get them where they cannot really be predictable. Georgia Tech, it's very difficult on a computer run to figure out just what they do. They change their tendencies up so much.
Third down, 2 yards to go from the Tech 42. Jerry Mays back in the ballgame, very close to the first down yardage. Had to get just across the 43-yard line. Stopped by Gerald Robinson, the left end. 253-pound senior. They'll measure for the first down. You might have heard the official saying it looks like it's a first down, but let's measure. Here's Pat Dye on the sideline. And it is a first down by the length of the football for Georgia Tech. And you can hear the reaction from the mainly partisan Georgia Tech crowd here at Grant Field. Football is back in Atlanta because of that man, Bill Curry. First and 10, Georgia Tech. They have been in Auburn territory once, but that's when Dewberry fumbled on the action play. Fullback Mack hitting the backfield. May have lost a yard on that one, and Tracy Rocker went right over the top of center Andy Hearn.
He was stopped by number 74, Tracy Rocker.
This is what the defensive people are seeing in terms of the inside play. Georgia Tech trying to stretch them both sides, inside, kind of a crossbuck type play, and there's no way they're going to go anywhere with Tracy Rocker in the middle. Bracken, Hearn, and Thomas unable to keep that front line out of their backfield.
Minute and a half left in the first period. We're scoreless. Second and 11. And Dewberry to throw against a straight four-man rush over the middle to his tight end. That's Massey at the 30 to the 27-yard line. Robert Massey, the sophomore from Tifton, Georgia. He and Mannion, the other tight end, have shown that ability to get open, especially down the middle. And Dewberry laid it in there.
In the first series of the ball game, Dewberry threw 3 passes over the receiver. A little high-strung, overly emotional. Right in between the gap, you've got to force Powell, Arthur Johnson, the free safety and strong safety. You split them, and that's exactly what happened. Massey's got the great tight end hands, ability to go across the middle.
A 30-yard gain, 1st and 10 at the 27. King plows his way forward to about the 25-yard line. But Auburn very tough in the middle of that defense.
If Georgia Tech expects to win the ball game today, John Dewberry will have to be a star in the game. He will have to complete more passes like that. He will have to keep Auburn's defense out of tempo with what they normally want to do. He's going to have to pull them out of their character.
Second down, 8 yards to go with 30 seconds to go in the quarter. 2 tight ends in the ballgame for Georgia Tech. Lee, the flanker, he's the man in motion. Collier trying to get outside. 20. Down to about the 17-yard line. Very close to another first down. Ben McCurdy made the tackle. Eight yards for Corey Collier. He and the freshman Jerry Mays alternating at tailback and doing a great job of it.
Collier really gives Georgia Tech more power. When you get inside the 20-yard line, you become a little bit more conservative.
We'll return after this message and a word from your local station. Second quarter at Grant Field in Atlanta. Georgia Tech with the first scoring threat of the ball game. 3rd and 1 from the Auburn 18-yard line. And Dewberry with a play-action fake. He'll keep it and get the first down as he dives forward inside the 17-yard line. Right now, let's go to New York for a college football update.
Mike, Penn State trailing, scored with 1:53 left on a pick play. John Schaefer to Steve Smith, that put them up 24-20. There's less than a minute to play, and Penn State keeps winning those close ones. Let's go back to Mike and Steve.
Joe Paterno is doing a lot with a team that most people didn't think was going to be undefeated this part of the season.
Well, Coach Paterno is, you know, he's been wrapped a little bit hard the last couple of years. So
they say even his posters aren't selling well up there. His life-size cutouts. 1st and 10, Georgia Tech at the 16-yard line. Collier right side. Good balance, got him to the 14-yard line, but no more as Kevin Porter out of Warner Robins, Georgia, the left corner, came up to hit him hard.
He was stopped by number 3, Kevin Porter.
There's John Davis, number 65, trying to get something outside for Collier. Yards get a little bit tougher inside the 20. You have to take a little bit more chances on defense, and offensively, you generally tend to be a little more conservative.
This is the 11th play of a Georgia Tech drive that started at its own 15-yard line. Dewberry, now he wants to go the other way. Inside the 10 and pushed out of bounds by Kevin Porter at the 7-yard line. Well, they don't draw him up that way, but it worked.
I think it showed the athletic ability of John Dewberry. The play was a total disaster. That's one of those oh my plays when you come down the line of scrimmage and you realize the option play is not the play you should have called, but you've got to be creative. You've got to be impromptu, and that's exactly what happened. And then Dewberry showed his talent by being able to put a move on Porter and to turn a loss into a slight gain.
Dewberry capable of running the ball. He's shown that already in this one. 3rd and a yard for Georgia Tech. Again, 2 tight ends, and they'll split the backs. King and Mays, and Dewberry wants to throw. Got a man wide open. Mays! Touchdown, Georgia Tech! Jerry Mays with the first receiving touchdown of his career. He has thrown 2, by the way, on the option pass. But that one had to be sweet for him. Thomas Palmer out of Dewberry's hold will try to add the extra point. And Georgia Tech is going to have to burn one of its timeouts on a point after play. And you bet Bill Curry will not be happy about that. I think they only had 10 men on the field.
football, so many times we have the statistical line for turnovers, and yet those type of mistakes are so crucial in a ball game. And at the end of a ball game, the coaches will remember, boy, if we ran out of timeouts in a particular period or something, those type of things really eat on you as a coach.
Here's Dewberry, who got his 7th touchdown pass of the season on the little 7-yard toss to Jerry Mays. And it has been all Georgia Tech in this ball game. They have totally taken away the momentum from Bo Jackson and Auburn. This is Thomas Palmer. Kicking has been something of a sore point for Georgia Tech this year. David Bell, who had such a great season in 1984, has a leg injury, and Palmer has taken over as the kicker. Had no problem with points after 12 out of 12, but has had some trouble with field goals. Good snap. Dewberry puts it down. And the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech will take a 7-0 lead over Auburn.
What happens is you begin to stretch the defense again. You put pressure on the perimeter people. Now they've got a very tough decision. Do you come forward, rush, or do you try to drop back in the pass? Bruce was out of position. He did not pick up Mays out of the backfield. It resulted in a touchdown for Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech on top of Auburn, 7-0. We'll be back with more of the second quarter in a moment. Over Auburn, and Jerry Mays, number 20, is the young man who caught the touchdown pass from John Dewberry to put the underdog Yellow Jackets on top. And now they'll kick it away. Fullwood is the deep man standing in his goal line. He'll take it 4 yards deep and bring it out. Fullwood bouncing off tacklers. And Palmer, the kicker, is the man who has to push him out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Fullwood had been averaging 18 yards a kick return, and he broke a big one that time of 39 yards.
It's rather difficult to believe, but Brent Fullwood is considered a tougher runner to bring down than Bo Jackson by the coaches and by the defensive staff at Auburn. They've had to practice against him because of his power, his proud running style. He really puts the intimidation.
13:33 to go first half. It's Georgia Tech on top of Auburn by a touchdown. 13:33 to go in the first half. Auburn with the football at its own 35-yard line. Down 7-0. And Bo Jackson on the toss. And that is what has happened to him this entire ball game. He has been swarmed by the Georgia Tech defense. Ricardo Ingram, 47, 93, Ted Roof, and you will see Roof in there all the time.
Don Lindsay, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, really felt like that what he wanted to accomplish this week in practice was that for Georgia Tech to come into the ball game and play loose. Do not be intimidated by Auburn's great offense. So far, they've not been. At Georgia Tech, 121 yards on offense to Auburn's one-fourth of that production.
They have been laying in wait for Bo Jackson. He's trying to get outside. Look at that speed. Jackson, 50. Cuts it back to the Georgia Tech 28-yard line. And no matter how many times you bring him down at the line of scrimmage, if you relax for a second, it's see you later.
There are two philosophies to how to stop the pitch play or the sweep play. One is to bounce him outside. This is not the nature of Georgia Tech. This is not what they wanted to do, but they do. If you bounce him outside, you better have the interior speed to get to the outside. Georgia Tech does not possess that speed. They've got to force Bo Jackson inside on the sweep play if they want to be successful.
With that 20-yard carry, and here's where he stepped out of bounds. Well, that's a good call. Right on the sideline, so they'll mark it at the Georgia Tech 41-yard line. It is a first down, however, for Auburn. Following Agee, this is Brent Fullwood in to give Jackson a little breather, and he crosses the 40 down to about the 39-yard line. And it was Mark Pike on the stop.
Pat Swilling really is an outstanding player. He's always at generally to the tight end side. This is the open side because they're in a wide set. Swilling just having to pursue the best defensive player on their football team. He's always going to be the point of attack.
He's a load at 245, a defensive end. Second down, 7 yards to go. Fullwood is in at tailback. Jackson gets a breather. Washington to throw, and it's blocked. Knocked down by Ken Parker, the defensive tackle, who had an interception and a blocked field goal a week ago, was the ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week, and he just stuck those big paws up there and stuffed it.
Parker's been the most consistent player. Watch him, 84. He's a former tight end, so had he caught the ball, he would have known what to do with it. There he is on the left side, number 84, gets his big paws up, as you said, and the ball, Pat Washington throws it more in a direct line because he's a strong-arm quarterback, very little trajectory, and Parker had a chance to knock it down.
Washington now 0 for 3 in the passing department. And he's back to throw again under a blitz. He'll run out of there. 30. If he didn't step out of bounds, it's a touchdown, but he did step out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Tough break for Auburn and a great break for Georgia Tech because Washington just set sail.
Boy, I tell you, as a quarterback, you get a chance to break into a seam or a crease like that, you do not run out of bounds. There's no reason. He just lost his mental concentration. There's no reason to run out of the bounds in this particular situation. He's got the coverage beat. No one's in pursuit. He just swings it wide. There's no reason. That's a critical mistake. I guess he's so excited he thought he was going to score. Choked on it.
It's not what you expect from a senior, and that's why he's in there. 1st and 10, Auburn trying to even this ball game up. And it's Bo Jackson back into the ball game. Breaking tackles, driving inside the 10. Holy cow, what a run by Bo Jackson. Finally stopped Ivory Lee, the nose guard, had to chase him down from behind. Just so strong, Steve.
Why Bo Jackson will win the Heisman Trophy is because of runs just like this, because he sets up his own opportunities. Watch this. He will get the ball. Now, he creates a seam, a crease. There doesn't look like there's much there, but he's able to use his head, go forward, power, his acceleration, and his vision.
1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Jackson, he's got some room on this one and is down to the 4. Agee, an excellent lead blocker, number 30, the fullback. He had 22 knockdowns against Southwestern Louisiana. That means he puts the other guy on the ground. Agee, a junior from Maplesville. Had a big run a week ago against Florida State when they were concentrating on Bo Jackson, and he just cracked it up the middle. Jackson now 10 carries, 59 yards. 2nd and goal from the 4. Agee. That's what happened a week ago. Wherever Bo Jackson goes, it looks like 10 men go with him, and there was nobody home to take on Agee. Seven to 6, Georgia Tech by 1 with 10:50 to go in the first half. And Chris Knapp will come on to try to tie it up. And does.
Tommy Agee started since his freshman year. He's a junior. He's a wishbone fullback. Watch, everybody is thinking outside. They missed the tackle. They've got to put him away because they're concentrating on it outside. Only one man had a chance to make the play on him, and he goes into the end zone. Here it is again. The outside man, I can't really tell who it was that missed the tackle. Did not wrap him up. With Auburn's backs, you've got to be an extremely sure tackler. 7-7.
10 minutes and 50 seconds to go from Grant Field in Atlanta. Back with more in a moment. And it's Mays at the goal line. Has a seam. Jerry Mays pulled down at the 36, and they pulled him down with the face mask. A big return for the little freshman from Thompson, Georgia, who caught the touchdown pass earlier.
Mike, on all the film that I watched of Jerry Mays, it has an unbelievable, uncanny ability to really break tackles. You cannot get, for a great back, you can't get the great hit on him, and that's what he did on the return.
Here's the call.
5-yard penalty, face mask on the run back on the defense. 1st down.
Crowd was booing because they wanted 15 on that one.
He gets a good wall in front of him, and what happens, he starts to find that little seam or crease and uses his speed and cuts back. Just no one's able to get a direct hit on him. There's the penalty. Pat Thomas pulled him down by the face mask.
First and 10 from the 42. Dewberry under pressure, can't get rid of it, and will be chased out of bounds for a loss. And a flag goes down for a late hit. The Toyota Leadership Award is presented weekly to a team member who's been singled out by his athletic department and faculty advisor for his team contributions, grades, and citizenship. Today's game winners are Rob Schuler of Auburn and Ted Roof of Georgia Tech. Toyota will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. I will check the penalty for you, and this too will go against Auburn, and this one will be for 15 yards. Here's the call from C.C. Daly.
Dead ball, personal foul, hitting out of bounds. First down. Thank you.
Bill Curry looking on as his team crosses into Auburn territory again at the 47-yard line. 10:35 to go first half. And those Auburn mistakes on penalties are starting to add up. Dewberry gives it to King, his fullback. Had a little hole up the middle, gets to about the 42-yard line before he's shoved back. Auburn's defense very tough up the middle. Andre Bruce is in on the stop. Along with Alex Dudchak. He's number 80 checking in for the first time. 2nd and 5, Georgia Tech. The tight end, number 40, Mannion, switches to the near side, and they'll send Davenport in motion. Mays, again, trying to get outside. Not this time. Nice play by Arthur Johnson, the strong safety, who just played it the way you're supposed to. Take a look at some other scores around the country so far as we get a late start here in Atlanta. And here's the big one, Michigan and Iowa, 0-0 second quarter. Michigan defense hasn't been tough or anything this year. Tennessee beats Alabama 16-14. Number 20 over number 15. Nebraska also a winner by 8 over Missouri, closer than most people expected. Florida swamped Southwestern Louisiana. 3rd and 4, Georgia Tech from the Auburn 41. Here comes the blitz on Dewberry, and they got him from behind. And it's Pat Thomas, the defensive right end. Dewberry never saw him and never had a chance. A loss of 10 on the play, and they'll have to punt it away.
Auburn did not want to come in and have to blitz against John Dewberry. They wanted to be able to use their 4- and 5-man rush, and this time Pat Thomas really uses, coaches say he's 4'6", but his quickness seems to be so much more impressive on film.
Mike Snow, who's averaging 40.9 yards a kick, is in to punt it away. And Trey Gaines is deep to receive. And Snow knocks the air out of it. And it will be down inside the 5 by Georgia Tech's special team. Auburn has been able to put them deep twice, and Georgia Tech returns the favor. They'll spot it at the 1. 8:19 to go in the half. We're tied 7-7, Auburn and Tech. 5 from the 6-yard line.
Encroachment on the defense. 1st down and 5. Repeat.
Check some other scores for you, and we have a tie. Georgia tied by Vandy, 13-13. There's the Nebraska score again. A lot of trouble with Missouri. Ohio State in the game you saw earlier over Purdue, 41-27. It was much closer than that, and Tennessee beating Alabama by 2. 1st and 5, Auburn. That's Middleton, the H-back in motion. Bo Jackson trying to get outside. No dice, lost the ball. I think they'll rule it down. The ground cannot cause a fumble, and that's what they'll call it. They'll say Jackson hit the ground before the ball came loose. Makes you hold your breath if you're a coach.
It just depends on which side of the field you're on.
I think both of them are holding their breath.
Well, that may be true, too. Now, on films that I saw on Bo Jackson, it appears like any great back, he is human. You know, if he's
might get
able
some argument on that, though.
Well, no, if you force him inside, he goes down. If you outman him, he goes down.
2nd and 3. Jackson gets close to the 9-yard line. It will be shy of a first down again.
And if you tackle him around the ankles, he goes down. I mean, that's one of the things that the coaching staff, they are so impressed with Bo in the sense that a lot of people have already put an S on his shirt, you know, for Superman. But the point is that Bo has that capability. He's very human, and he certainly is a great running back. But the point is that you just watch him play. He's patient all day long, and all of a sudden he breaks the big run, makes a big play.
Oh, we saw in the first quarter that Blackwatch defense had contained him very, very well, and then one man missed a tackle and he was gone.
That's right.
3rd down, 2 yards to go. Big play here. Auburn at its own 9. Middleton, the man in motion. They'll fake it in Washington. Being chased by Jurgensen and got by him and has the first down. Finally knocked out of bounds over there by Mark Hogan, the bandit. Good play by Washington, and Paul Jurgensen just didn't have the speed to chase him down. But there's a flag down, and the preliminary indication is against Auburn, and Pat Dye doesn't like that. And it's a clip. And you just saw Pat Dye talking with one of the officials, and he told the Auburn players to get back from the sideline.
Right here. 23-yard line, 11 and a half. 11 and a half.
Yeah, it'd be half the distance to the goal line from the 23, so Auburn not out of trouble yet. Blackwatch defense has acquitted itself pretty well against a very veteran and tough offensive line for the Tigers. Here's the call.
Clipping on the offensive team. Repeat, 3rd down.
Jeff Parks, number 82, appears to be the culprit. Pushing right there. Yes, he's pushing on Malone. Let's see, who is it? Who is he pushing on?
It's Ricardo Ingram, I believe, 47.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was Ricardo. That was the clip.
This is Fullwood into the ballgame at tailback to give Bo Jackson a breather, and he is up to the 16. Check some other scores for you around the country. Notre Dame beats Army 24-10. And when was the last time anybody said Notre Dame knocking off Army was an upset? Here's Pitt over Rutgers, 38-10.
Or a crucial victory.
That's right. West Virginia beats Boston College. Navy crushes Lafayette that game in the 4th quarter. West Virginia now 4-4-1. And what an upset there. Virginia Tech over Virginia. This is Agee, the fullback. No chance. Ted Roof a hold of that left ankle and would not let go. It'll bring up 3rd and about 5 yards to go.
Auburn has had success offensively, Mike, when they've been able to go outside and test the speed of Georgia Tech's defense. They do not have the speed to play an outside sideline-to-sideline game. As long as Auburn continues to go inside, that's got to make Don Lindsay, the defensive coordinator, a little bit more excited.
There's Roof.
That's the kind of play that Georgia Tech is inviting. They want you to come inside.
5:09 to go first half, tied at 7, 3rd and 4 for the Tigers from their own 18. Washington to throw. He lost the football. Now he's got it back, and he's in a lot of trouble. Cleve Pounds takes him out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Well, I thought Pat Washington may have gotten away with one there. He lost it. It bounced right back to him, but he lost 12 yards.
I'll tell you what, if I were Pat Washington tomorrow, they'll watch the film of this game. That'll be a horror film for him. The play it's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, throw the ball. He's got his hand up to throw. The ball is batted down away from him. Now, the impromptu play, and he can't do anything with it. And he's finally pulled down.
Lewis Colbert, standing near the end line, will have to punt it away. And Gary Lee is waiting at the 50. Collier with a beautiful punt. And Lee signals fair catch, driven all the way back to his own 42-yard line. What a gorgeous kick by the nation's leading punter. 52 yards. Timeout with 4:47 left. We're still tied in Atlanta. To go in the half. Dewberry, naked reverse. Throws, and it's complete to Gary Lee at the Auburn 39-yard line. Kevin Porter, number 3, was there, but not close enough. And Gary Lee has been Georgia Tech's big play receiver.
John Dewberry had all the luxury of time that he needed. They had Arthur Johnson unable to put any pressure on him, and all he had to do is find Gary Lee, 33, that had pushed deep on Porter and then came back for the football. 1st and 10 Yellow Jackets. That's Davenport in motion. They'll give it to the fullback. That's Joel Carter in there for the first time, down to the 35-yard line. Pat Thomas, who had a big sack earlier, makes the stop. Carter, a senior, doesn't play a whole lot. Next Saturday on CBS, more college football action. Heisman hopeful Keith Byers of Ohio State takes his show on the road to Minnesota to go against Lou Holtz and the Golden Gophers next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on CBS Sports. Right here, it's 2nd and 7 for Georgia Tech at the Auburn 35. Mays, the man in motion, and Dewberry wants to go deep. What a catch! Gary Lee! Holy cow, what a catch! He swiped that ball from Jimmy Warren. Three yards, and Dewberry just sort of hung it out there.
If you can find 45 right there, number 45, Jimmy Warren sees that he's got a great opportunity to intercept the ball, so he's waiting on the football. He doesn't go for the ball. You've got to not be lazy or deliberate. He was waiting. You've got to see it and go catch it. That's why Lee was able to make the catch.
1st and goal, Mays inside the 1, hit hard by Arthur Johnson, the strong safety.
Jimmy Warren on that pass, on that previous play, was just sitting back waiting for it. When you see that it's going to be a little bit behind the receiver, go for the football, because all of a sudden, you know, Gary Lee's in a position he sees it's going to be short. He makes the adjustment and steals the ball out of a waiting Jimmy Warren's hands.
Gary Lee sure didn't give up. He's had 4 touchdown grabs this year. Not the best pass you'll see Dewberry throw, but Gary Lee turned it into a great one. 2nd and goal from the 1. King is the fullback, Mays the tailback. 2 tight ends. Mays, touchdown! What a hole they opened on the left side, and Jerry Mays, the little guy at 5'7", walked right through.
When you run the sweep play, you create creases. Mays represents the sweep to the outside. You think outside, everybody's pushing outside. He goes inside for the touch.
The point after by Thomas Palmer is good, and Georgia Tech has regained the momentum 14-7 and has a sellout crowd on its feet.
Here again, watch everybody flowing to the outside. They see Mays has the ball. He gets walled off inside and is able to go right through the crease for the touchdown.
2 of the Auburn defenders tackle the fullback, Malcolm King.
Excellent block by Hearn, number 50, to open him up and create that little opportunity to go through and give them the 14-7 lead.
Here's a short pooch kick, and it's taken by Parks, the tight end, on the fair catch to 29. I don't know if that was intentional or not. It looked like it was. Tomorrow on the NFL Today, Herb Cross will have a look at the Rams' big play defense, the main factor in LA's 6-0 start this season. John Madden will explain to you why Lawrence Taylor has not been as effective this season as in others. Plus a look at the World Series with Pete Rose. That's all tomorrow on the NFL Today. Auburn, 1st and 10 at its own 29. They have no passing yards so far. They'll give it to Bo Jackson, cutting it back. Jackson ran right over Ricardo Ingram to reach the 44-yard line. Boy, he's strong. Hates to lift weights, too. Wonder what would happen if he did.
Well, we'd put an S on his shirt. Well, his leg strength is obviously one of the vital points what makes Bo Jackson. And I think the coaches also agree that it's his attitude, the way he's handled the pressure of the media, and the way he responds to the team. He's very much dedicated to the team goal.
Washington back to throw under pressure. Gets it away. It's incomplete. Had it in the hands of Scott Bolton, his split end, but Bolton couldn't hold it as Cleve Pounce came up to hit him.
That's one of the weak areas of Pat Washington's game. He really has an exceptionally strong arm. The problem is on those short passes where you need to take a little off the ball, he drives it so hard. The point of the ball is coming down at you. It's very difficult ball to catch, and he's 0-4 right now, so he needs to learn to take a little bit off of his strong arm when he throws the ball.
He put Washington into quarterback the last 2 ball games, and they have scored 100 points in those last 2 games. They had been playing musical chairs at quarterback before then. Washington back to throw, draw to Jackson, got room to run. Good tackle by Ingram, a member of that Black Watch unit who came up to get him at the 47-yard line, but he is so dangerous.
Bo Jackson has the ability. He's just like an option quarterback, Mike. He will take the sweep play one of 3 places, inside, middle, or outside. This time he starts to the middle, breaks it outside. He's just kind of scissoring through, finding his hole, his open area to get the yards out of the secondary.
Another good lead block from fullback Tommy Agee. Jackson now 87 yards on the day. He is the leading rusher of all time in Auburn football history. Only needed 16 yards coming in. Only needed 9 to hit 1,000 for the year. 1st and 10. Washington back to throw. Fullwood. He lost it. And that one was not Washington's fault. That was Fullwood's. A reminder, next Saturday from what should be a sold-out Madison Square Garden, CBS Sports presents Patrick Ewing's NBA debut. The New York Knicks host the Philadelphia 76ers. Ewing, perhaps the most celebrated player to join the league since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar arrived in 1969. And in the season opener, he'll face a tough test against Moses Malone and the 76ers next Saturday at 1 Eastern right here on CBS. Ewing against Malone. That ought to be a war.
Anywhere Ewing goes, there generally is a war.
2nd and 10 for Auburn. Washington to throw again. Wants to throw the screen and does the full one, and he dropped it again. Now Washington is going to see Fullwood out there the next time, and he's not going to throw him the ball.
Well, that time Pat Washington really set up the screenplay extremely well, threw the ball very soft. I wonder if the sun might have had a little bit to do with the ability to catch the ball, the angle of the sun. But it was a soft ball. It was set up. Just fell right out of his arms, though, out of his hands.
3rd and 10 with 1:27 to go. And Miami leading Oklahoma 14-7. That's the half.
That's not so unpredictable, though.
No, you were saying that earlier. Here's the draw. Fullwood. He may not be able to catch it all that well, but he can sure run it. Incidentally, Auburn's tailbacks have not caught a pass this season. Maybe that's why. It'll be another 1st down for the Tigers with 1:17 to go after a 17-yard game.
What a luxury to have Bo Jackson and then having a Brent Fullwood to back him up, to be able to rest Bo when he gets a little bit tired, to keep him fresh in the ball game and give it to a runner, a junior, that's even tougher to tackle than Bo Jackson.
The clock running. We're approaching a minute. Washington wants to throw, completes it to his tight end Parks. Little dump over the middle. Roof is in there on the tackle, along with Hogan, the bandit back, number 36. First completion of the day for Pat Washington. He is 1 for 7.
Down the line of scrimmage, setting up. It's kind of like a little short option. Then it's a throwback pass.
51 seconds left in the half. It's still Georgia Tech by 7. To go, 1st half. Auburn driving, 2nd and 4. Georgia Tech 22. Washington 1 of 7 in the air, trying to pass, throws, intercepted. That's Sammy Lilly to the 17-yard line. The ball badly underthrown, and Sammy Lilly right where he needed to be. His 2nd interception of the season. There is a flag down. We'll check it for you. I think it's against Auburn. And it is. One happy young man there. Penalty is on the return, so Georgia Tech will have possession with 40 seconds to go.
Interception. 1st down.
So many times when you're a rushing football team, this happens in a ball game where you're having a work against a restriction of time. They're trying to go to Parks. The tight end, Lilly, picks it off. The ball was poorly thrown. Turns the ball over.
Georgia Tech interested in only one thing, running out the clock and getting into the dressing room. Auburn with 2 timeouts left. See what they might do with them.
What happened, Auburn really needed a little bit more time to do what they do best, is run the football. They were forced to have to throw the ball, and Pat Washington is still, he's not a throwing quarterback. This is not a throwing offense, and they threw a bad ball, and it's intercepted, and turns the ball over and stops the drive.
Clock running with 10 seconds to go, first half. Dewberry taking his time, and he'll just go down and kill it. And that'll be the end of the first half, and you can hear the crowd reaction in Atlanta. They have loved it. Deep to receive along with Malcolm King, as Georgia Tech will get the football to start the third quarter, already leading 14-7. Tech at least a touchdown underdog coming into this one. And Chris Johnson will kick it away, a 5'11" freshman. Drives Mays 6 yards deep in the end zone, and King tells him to down it. He does, and Georgia Tech will start from its own 20-yard line. Steve, what do you think Georgia Tech will do differently, if anything, in the second half?
I don't think so. I think they had the distribution of the pressure off of Dewberry and Mays, and I think that was a nice mix. I think Dewberry's going to have to play an exceptional second half to keep the pressure on Auburn. They can't let up. They can't set on their lead. They cannot get in a scoring match. The game is developing just how they wanted it to.
1st and 10, Georgia Tech. Massey, 81. The tight end shifts to the near side. They have 2 wide receivers, Davenport and Lee. This is Mays, the tailback. And Mays will get maybe a yard and a half. Pat Thomas makes the stop. Don't forget, tomorrow on CBS Sports, America's Chicago Marathon. The year's top marathon field will be there, including Olympic champion Joan Benoit, plus world record holder Steve Jones and Ingrid Christensen. They'll be part of 12,000 runners racing throughout Chicago tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern here on CBS Sports. There's an injured player on the field. We'll check on him when we come back right after this.
This is today's Chevrolet S10 Blazer.
For the fun, for the choice, for the town, on the great outdoors.
Now get low.
7-yard line. Brought down by Edward Phillips, one of the linebackers in there, and that has been a concern for Auburn this year. The linebackers have not played as well as they had hoped. The defensive line in the secondary, however, have taken up a lot of that slack. Phillips, a sophomore. Michigan leading Iowa 7-6. That ball game at the half. Number 1 against number 2. 3rd and 4 here for Georgia Tech. Collier and King are the running backs behind John Dewberry, who wants to throw. Another blitz. He got rid of it. Complete to Collier, and it will be a first down, Georgia Tech. Great effort by Dewberry and a great effort by Collier as Pat Thomas was blitzing. He got him once like that in the first half, and he hit Dewberry hard when he unloaded.
They continue to keep the emotional aspect high for Georgia Tech. That has to help them. Dewberry really just drops the ball off. It's not real pretty, but Collier makes the catch. Now watch him having a sense of knowing where the 1st and 10 is, and really Auburn tackled him and pushed him a little bit closer to that 1st and 10 stride.
Dewberry got a helmet right in the back on the last play. It is a 1st and 10 for Georgia Tech. They'll run it out of the eye. King, the fullback, gets about 4. Robinson had him around the ankles and brought him down shy of the 35-yard line. There's Bracken, the senior out of Las Vegas, the right guard. He came limping off on his left leg, and it puts a lot of pressure on the freshman Eric Bearden, who has to come in and replace him on that offensive line. He's walking a little better than he was 2 minutes ago. Second down, 6 yards to go for Georgia Tech. They're leading at 14-7, opening minutes of the second half. Dewberry, play action. And it's intercepted by Powell. The free safety who came into the game with 4 interceptions, tied for 4th in the nation, picks off number 5, and Dewberry hit him right in the hands.
Earlier in the first half, Jimmy Warren had a chance to take the ball away and make a big play. This time, Tommy Powell is not to be denied. He's going to break on the ball, number 9, make the interception. He knows the ball's underthrown. He's going to step in front of Gary Lee, the receiver, makes the interception. That's what you can't be denied. Turnover, big play for Auburn.
Everyone who loves
defensive coaches around Tom Powell, the free safety who made the interception and sets Auburn up in Georgia Tech territory. Bo Jackson inside the 40 to the 39, maybe the 38-yard line.
One of the things about the Georgia Tech scheme in terms of their defense, it really forces offensive football teams, as we look at Jerry Mays, it really forces offensive teams to be more conservative. They're trying to get you out of your diversified blocking schemes into a more base-oriented blocking concept. That's what they do to you.
2nd and 3, the little toss back to Bo Jackson, trying it outside. Cleve Pounds with a good tackle. Got him as he came inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Well, they don't try to trick you or anything else. They just turn around and it's student body left or right.
I think that Pat Dye and his offensive staff have really gone through a kind of a renaissance. At the first part of the year, Mike, they really had the attitude that they were going to show a lot of different looks and kind of try to camouflage the obvious of Bo Jackson. After Tennessee's loss, they determined, hey, what we're going to do is go play smash ball and you stop Bo Jackson.
This is Agee, the fullback. Nothing in the middle. Hit hard. Cleve Pounds came up to finish him off after Glenn Spencer stopped him at the line of scrimmage. Pounds is one of those black watch defenders. That refers to that 17th century Scottish palace guard. And if these guys showed up in Scotland, they'd rule the world.
Well, Pounds was a former tailback. He's got good speed, reacts on the ball, and, you know, first of all, he was posted by 94. Spencer held him up, and then he was able to put the tackle away.
2nd and 10, Auburn. 11 minutes, 7 seconds on a turning clock from Atlanta. Georgia Tech on top, 14-7. Washington gives it to Bo Jackson, and so does Ken Parker. Parker in the backfield, and Bo Jackson, great as he is, can't do much when someone who's 240 pounds hits him at the same time he gets the ball.
Well, one thing that Georgia Tech's defensive line, they're changing. They're giving them multiple defensive looks. The offensive linemen are getting a little bit confused about where their man's going to come from, and that particular time it looked like one of the offensive tackles was not able to make a block, got stood up by someone he did not expect on the rush, and they made the play on Jackson.
The senior Heisman Trophy candidate with 97 yards on 17 carries. Now it's 3rd and 12. Option. Jackson almost broke it. Reginald Rutland, number 16, got enough of him to take him down.
Watch Bo Jackson. 3 people bounce off of his body. No one makes the tackle off of him. There's not a whole lot there. There's 1, 2, 3 men, and he pops loose. And if he had been able to keep up speed, he'd probably gone in a little bit 10, 15 yards farther.
And now Auburn will go with its field goal team. Chris Knapp, who is 3 for 3 inside the 40, will try a 46-yard field goal. Very high, and it's going to be very short. Georgia Tech dodges a bullet and maintains their 14-7 lead. That's got to be a great thing for them for momentum. Timeout on the field, 3rd quarter, 10-11 to go. It's Georgia Tech by 7.
Just the setting that he wanted going into the 2nd half.
But still, they're up by 7, and you have the feeling they may need some more points. Dewberry scrambling. Nice move by John Dewberry as he dives forward, as Arthur Johnson made the tackle.
Well, coming into the ball game, they realized they could not get into a scoring match with Auburn, but they needed to control them. Not a bend, don't break type philosophy, but something along the lines of being able to take your shots, give as little as you can, and hopefully be able to sustain drives and keep the offense off the field. And they've been able to do that reasonably effectively. And I think the defense played above their ability right now. You don't agree, but I think so.
No, I think they're tough. 3rd down, 2 yards to go. This is Collier in motion, a single back remaining. Blitz. Dewberry unloads, and what a great play by Kevin Porter. He was out there man on man, and he made a great play.
Again, Auburn did not want to go to the blitz package. They are blitzing now, which tells you that they're trying to make things happen. They want to just 4- and 5-man rush. Dewberry gets squeezed, and a great play, as you said, Mike, by Kevin Porter to knock the ball away from Davenport.
Snow is on to punt. Been a good kicker all season. And Trey Gaines deep to receive, standing at his own 18. Not a lot of pressure. Beautiful punt by Snow. Another mortar shot. Gaines. Nothing. Hit down there on special teams by Michael Melvin. 45-yard punt and nothing on the return for Auburn. Tomorrow on the NFL Today, Herb Cross will take a look at the Rams' big play defense. They're the main factor in LA's 6-0 start this year. John Madden will explain why Lawrence Taylor has not been as effective this season as in others. And we'll have a look at the World Series with Pete Rose. That's all tomorrow on the NFL Today. Pat Washington leads his ball club out, and they'll give it to who else? Bo Jackson trying to get wide. Got by Swilling and brought down as he reaches the 27-yard line. You got to see a lot of Bo Jackson's ability on that play, just gliding and waiting for room and then busting it ahead.
Well, if he glides too much and if he's too slow in terms of trying to find that little crease, then all of a sudden even Georgia Tech, because they have inferior speed, they're able to get out there. Also, they were working against the boundary, and that caused the play not to be quite as successful.
Even when he doesn't look like he's doing much, he gets 9 yards.
Yeah, I was going to say the next point. Almost got a 1st and 10. Typically, that play goes for more, though.
That's right. 2nd and a yard for Auburn. Agee, the fullback, who has been contained very, very well by Georgia Tech's defense today.
I think that illustrates, though, you don't realize how many yards he's gobbling up.
That's
by
right.
the style of running that he has, because he does look rather methodical until he creates that little crease for himself, and then he's gone.
I thought you made a great point in the first half. Because it's Bo Jackson, you expect to see the S on his chest. You expect every play to go 20, 30, 40 yards. And it's almost a disappointment to see him only gain 9.
It really is. But Bo Jackson will gain a lot of yards. And that's the concern for Georgia Tech, is if they can control him in the second half.
He has 112 so far today, going for more. What a move there. And a stiff arm will get him a couple of more out to the 35-yard line. Pulled down by Cleve Pounds, the rover back, who a year ago led this team in tackles with 114, and that set a school record. So he's used to putting a shoulder pad in there.
You know, it's hard to believe. Bo Jackson was a defensive end in high school, 3rd-team tailback, recruited because of his athletic ability and the things that the coaches saw in him. But my goodness, to think that he was a defensive end.
Well, the stories they tell about him, they swear they're all true, that he can throw a football 100 yards. Exceptional baseball player. The pass to Freddie Wegand is complete, and Sammy Lilly brings him down. And that was the first good-looking pass downfield that Pat Washington has thrown today.
Pat Washington has a strong arm, and this is the kind of pass when you're throwing it all across the field. You've got to have all the arm. Sure tackle by Sammy Lilly, number 37. Lacks in size. He's only 5'9", late signee. No one offered him a scholarship. 4.6 speed, but he's a fighter, and he's intense, and he broke down and made the tackle on Wagan, 14.
Washington now 2 out of 9, 17 yards and an interception. 6 minutes, 28 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Washington, naked reverse. Hogan out there got a piece of him as he gets into Georgia Tech territory. Ken Parker also helped to finish him off. Second time this game he's run that particular play.
Ken Parker, number 84, has the responsibility to keep containment on the outside. Naked bootleg by Pat Washington. He's got the speed to find himself in the secondary, but a very sure tackle in there.
Washington has done better on the ground than he has on the air. 31 yards and 4 carries. Another first down for the Tigers. Fullwood in a tailback straight up the middle. This kid is a great runner and just tripped up by Mark White, the freshman linebacker. Fullwood with almost 350 yards rushing coming into this game. He averages 70 yards a game rushing, and that's behind Bo Jackson.
8.1 yards every time he touches the football. The coaches say that he's a little bit of a hot and cold runner. He's a very proud runner, very secure in his ability, but he loses intensity sometimes. But he's an able replacement for Bo Jackson.
Another first down. Auburn. Here's Fullwood again. Driving inside the 15 to about the 12-yard line of Georgia Tech. And all at once, it looks like they're getting bigger holes in the middle of that Tech defensive line.
Pat Schwilling, number 99, has a tough assignment working on the tight end. He's really being handled quite easily by Jeff Parks, 82. He's out of the play. He can't make it from that position. He's being driven back by Parks.
Auburn coaching staff loves Parks and Middleton, the H-back. Bo Jackson back in the game, and they're waiting for him, and it was White, the freshman linebacker from Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania, who led the defensive charge.
What an outstanding luxury to have if you're Auburn. You're the #2 rushing offensive team in the country, the #1 total offense, to have the depth at the running back and fullback position, to have a Tommy Agee, a Reggie Ware, a Bo Jackson, Brent Fullwood, and in 30 scholarship, 30-95 days, it's very difficult to create those kind of numbers.
That's right.
In terms of the backs, and they've got very talented backs.
Second down, 9 yards to go, and the officials are going to call a timeout, and Georgia Tech has asked for a timeout on defense. There's a timeout on the field with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Georgia Tech on top of Auburn, 14-7.
Manage. To handle or direct with skill.
Ohio State Buckeyes will face the Golden Gophers of Minnesota in college football next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Concentrate
His offensive staff to stay with what brought them to this point. Don't.
There's a breakdown in the coverage.
Self-destruct because you're not set really in your offensive plan. They're very secure in what they do, and I think that's the change in their mentality a little bit. We're going to stick with what has brought us here, and I think they're very comfortable in it.
Third down, 6 yards to go. Washington checks with Agee, his fullback on the signal count. Jackson. And the tackle made by Reginald Rutland. And boy, he was out there all by his lonesome, and he'd better make the tackle.
This probably should go into the Georgia Tech highlight film. Watch Reggie Rutland one-on-one. Bo Jackson works from the middle of his body and down his legs and puts him down. Forces the field goal attempt.
Chris Knapp, who missed a 46-yarder earlier, is on to try one from 23. And he got this one. Auburn closes within 4 points. But in that situation, Georgia Tech was probably very happy to give up the 3 and not the 7 that would have tied it up. Next Saturday on CBS Sports, there's more college football action as Heisman hopeful Keith Byers of Ohio State will take his show on the road to Minnesota and go against Lou Holtz in the goal. Penn State squeaks by Syracuse. Nebraska with a lot of trouble with Missouri. Ohio State rolls over Purdue. It was closer than the final score would indicate. A mild upset, Alabama losing to Tennessee. Georgia and Vanderbilt, that's not a mild result at all. 13-13 tie. Mays once again driven 9 yards deep, this time into the end zone. Excellent kickoff by Chris Johnson. And Georgia Tech will have to start from its own 20-yard line. Right now, the momentum has shifted as Auburn has had a very good third quarter. Be interesting to see what Georgia Tech decides to try to do on offense.
This is where they really got a critical situation. They've got to have a good drive here.
Tomorrow on CBS, Week 7 of the NFL season. Many of you will see the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL East leader at 5-1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Impressive in drubbing the Cardinals. Some will see the Redskins and the Giants or other regional games, all starting with the NFL today. Check your local listings. Dewberry with a quick out to Gary Lee. And he's out of bounds as Jimmy Warren chases him out of there. It's been a big ball game for Gary Lee. He's made a couple of great catches.
Well, he's an outstanding receiver. He only caught 12 balls coming into the ball game, but he has big play potential, good size, a complete athlete, and really has taken advantage of Auburn and stretched them a little bit today.
Second down, 1 yard to go for Georgia Tech. Time winding down in the third quarter. They'll give it to King, the fullback. And he has the first down across the 30 to about the 31-yard line.
Malcolm King, the ball carrier.
There's that Tennessee-Alabama final again. Boy, is Johnny Majors having fun at Tennessee this year. North Carolina over NC State, one of those backyard brawls, 21-14. Tough year for NC State. First and 10, Georgia Tech, 2:49 to go in the third quarter. The Yellow Jackets on top of the Tigers by 7. This is Mays trying to get outside. Davenport, his flanker, threw him a couple of great blocks, and Jerry Mays stays on his feet. Davenport, 193-pound flanker, really threw him a good block, lost his man, and then hit him again. And Mays did a dance.
Let's see if we can see the block. That was very impressive, as you said, Mike. There's Mays catching the pass right there. No, it was King made one great block also.
And there's Davenport out in front of him.
Davenport. 2 excellent blocks thrown in the sweep play.
7 yards for Mays. 2nd and 3, Georgia Tech from their own 39. Davenport will go in motion with 2 tight ends. King, the fullback, gets a couple and no more. Good stop by Ben McCurdy, the linebacker. Here's Clemson over Duke, 21-9. Tigers are going to give a lot of people some trouble this year, even though they got off to a very slow start. And how about this? Virginia Tech over Virginia. That's one of those games where you throw out the record books. And Virginia Tech threw out Virginia with the book. First and 10, Tech, their own 42. Collier, nowhere to go on this one. Gets a couple and a swarming Auburn defense all over him.
I think the ability of Georgia Tech to move the ball deep in their own territory to midfield, if they have to turn it over and punt the football, they're going to really put Auburn in an adverse field position, change the momentum a little bit by field position. No, they're playing the very game that they thought they would have to play to have a chance to beat Auburn.
Joel Carter, number 43, comes in at fullback. Collier at tailback on 2nd and 8. Mannion, the tight end, shifts to the near side. Both wide receivers go to the other. Here's a blitz. And they get it out to Collier with a great catch. And Corey Collier gets out to the 47-yard line. Great play by Dewberry. Saw the blitz coming and just hung it up there. And Collier got it with one hand.
Oftentimes, I don't think that we respect or appreciate the job of a quarterback to try to get the ball away. He gets so much pressure from Bruce, number 93, and throws an end-over-end Steve Davis-type pass to Collier, who really makes a good play out of nothing play.
You threw better than that, I remember.
I don't know.
Dewberry, 9 out of 14, 116 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 3rd and 5 for Georgia Tech. Collier goes in motion. Here's a blitz again, and it was going to be a quarterback draw, but Auburn with the blitz got Dewberry. Pat Thomas again from the right end, and another big play for that young man. That'll bring the third quarter to an end. With the score, Georgia Tech 14, Auburn 10. We'll return after this message and a word from your local station.
That's college football, sponsored by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Visa, accepted worldwide for shopping, dining, and travel. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by Radio Shack, a division of Tandy Corporation.
Mike Padre and Steve Davis with you from Atlanta, Georgia. And we're starting the fourth quarter as Mike Snow, who's averaged 47.3 yards a kick, comes on to punt for Georgia Tech on 4th and 8. Snow's gone back to the 3-step kick, drills another one. Trey Gaines fakes the fair catch, And this one will get an Auburn bounce and go into the end zone. So the Tigers will start from their own 20-yard line as we start the fourth quarter. A reminder, next Saturday from what should be a sold-out Madison Square Garden, CBS Sports will present Patrick Ewing's NBA debut as his New York Knicks host the Philadelphia 76ers. Out of Georgetown, Ewing is perhaps the most celebrated player to join the NBA since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar arrived in 1969, but he'll face a tough test in that opener against Moses Malone and the 76ers. That's next Saturday at 1, right here on CBS. Auburn down by 4. They'll give it to Bo Jackson. Tries to slip it outside. Gets about 3 yards. Good tackle by Malone. Right now, let's go to New York for a college football update.
All right, Mike. Iowa is driving here for a score, but it's a poor choice by Chuck Long as he throws the ball late outside. Dieter Heron is there to make yet another interception for Michigan this season. Iowa still losing 7-6 in the third quarter. Let's go back to Mike and Steve.
14:25 left in the ball game, and it's Auburn in possession, down 14-10, facing a 2nd and 6 from their own 24. Give to Jackson. They tried a little delay action there, sent AG in one direction and Jackson in the other, but they will keep an eye, if not two, on Bo Jackson.
One very instinctive point that I think Bo Jackson reveals. When he gets in a crowd, he's so protective of the football. He does not fumble. You know, he's just aware that he's going to get hit, so you see both arms go to that football. For you young kids that are watching, that's really a great ability of an athlete to be able to know and protect the football. Don't fumble it. Don't cough it up.
Jackson with 126 yards behind that great offensive line of Steve Wallace, Jeff Lott, Ben Tamburello, Yan Cowart, and Stacy Searles. Jackson, he's loose. They'll never get him. Bo Jackson, 76 yards. Got about 20,000 Auburn fans here today, and they are all on their feet for Bo Jackson, who has gone over the 200-yard mark in rushing with that 76-yard scamper. Knapp is on for the point after, and has this one turned around. Auburn has taken a 17-14 lead over Georgia Tech. Steve, that's what you kept saying.
Well, I really felt like that if Auburn could get outside, that Georgia Tech did not have the ability, the speed to contain Bo Jackson or any of the Auburn backs. He bounced off one tackler, and then it's a track meet. They do not have the ability to play a lateral type game with you. They've got to be able to, you just can't, he's going to outrun you every time.
13:23 left in the game. It's Auburn over Georgia Tech, 17-14.
To illustrate that speed kills, watch Bo Jackson. 3 players will have the angle on Bo Jackson. 1, 2, 3. Now, watch the difference that Bo Jackson's speed makes.
4.22 sprinter, that is world-class speed hung on a 225-pound frame. Put those together, you get 76-yard runs. And 202 yards rushing in this ball game out of Auburn's 324 yards total offense. Bill Curry, who had seen his team up by 7, now sees them down by 3 with 13:23 left in the ball game. Mays and King will go deep as Chris Johnson is set to kick it away for the Tigers. And the momentum has definitely shifted in Auburn's favor. Mays will have a chance on this one from the 4. He's got room to run. Jerry Mays up to the 42-yard line. He was caught by Shan Morris, the son of the former Georgia Tech All-American. Or Mays had a touchdown, and a flag goes down on top of it. And it's against Auburn. And Mays is still down. Boy, did he turn it on. Jerry Mays is still down, and he does not look like he will be getting up real quickly. Here's the call.
Dead ball foul on the run back on the defense. First down.
Now Mays gets to his feet. That's good to see.
Mays does an excellent job of following the wall. Look how impressive the wall is. Now he finds a little crease and breaks into the area where there's just not any players. Watch Auburn's concern. There's Bo Jackson.
1st and 10, Georgia Tech in Auburn territory at the 44 after the penalty. Davenport goes in motion. Fullback King straight up the middle. Inside the 40 to the Auburn 38. Tackle made by Harold Hallman and Tracy Rocker in the middle of that defensive line. Gain of 6 for King. There's Mays being attended on the sideline, and they're working on that left leg. It looks like the ankle. Oh, what a big game for Jerry Mays. He has both Georgia Tech touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 rushing. 2nd and 4 for Tech. Most of the crowd on its feet. Collier tries to get outside. Did not have a chance. Edward Phillips, number 46, was waiting on him, and there is a mismatch. Phillips at 239 and Collier at 193 pounds and 5'7".
Georgia Tech having again to bounce the play outside, and they just ride him into the end zone.
Big play here, 3rd and 3. 12:36 left to go in the game. Auburn 17, Georgia Tech 14. And the crowd is really into this one. Out of the eye, they split the wide receivers. Give it to Collier. He's hit and dives forward to the 35, but he's going to be shy of the first down. Harold Hallman, the nose guard, in on the tackle. What do you do if you're Bill Curry on 4th and less than a yard?
Well, I think that he realizes that the offense of Auburn has really found some combinations that are working for them. I think that physically they're wearing Georgia Tech down. I think there's obvious they're going to go for it. They need a 1st and 10.
Dewberry leads them out. Remember, in the first half, they had 3rd and short twice, and both times they passed. They'll give it to Collier. He dives, and he didn't make it. A great defensive stand by Auburn, and Tracy Rocker with his hands in the air. But Alex Duchak was the man in the middle of that defense, number 80, and he made the stop. And Collier had the flight cut short.
What I wanted to say, they need a 1st and 10, but more than anything else, they need to control the ball, keep the ball, and they just go over the top. You have to find a little angle or something, go over, and you just don't have the ability. Didn't have the ability to get high enough.
Auburn holds on defense, leading 17-14 4th quarter. Left in the game. Auburn has recaptured the lead, 17-14. Steve, I'd have to think this is a big defensive series for Georgia Tech because Auburn loves this situation, ahead and in possession of the ball.
And they can play into their own hands. They can run their own offense and attack. They don't have to modify it at all and give it to those people.
Forward in a tailback. Mark Pike hits him, but not before he crosses the 40 to about the 43-yard line. And as you said earlier, what a luxury to have a Fullwood come in for Bo Jackson. Clock turning, 11:25 to go in the game. Fullwood with a gain of 8 at 2nd and 2. Fullwood again. Right side being chased this time and won't get anything out of it. Nice play by Cleve Pounds, the strong safety called in Georgia Tech system the rover back, and they came up and knocked him out of bounds for a loss.
Sometimes the sidelines can really be your friend when you're playing a lateral type team that Auburn is. If you get one hit on the running back and force him to bounce parallel to the line of scrimmage, then hopefully if you're playing with the sidelines, then your speed, your overall team concept can get you there, and you can make the play.
Paul Jurgensen, number 86, is in on that strong side defensive end for Swilling on 3rd and 2. Here's the option for Washington. Good run by Washington. He has the first down out to the 47-yard line. The senior from Mobile did his job on that one. Much to the dismay of Bill Curry. The lead is 3 points, 17-14, and we're under 11 minutes, 10:58 and counting. Beautiful Saturday afternoon for college football, and it's been a great one. Georgia Tech and Auburn. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Bo Jackson back in at the tailback. Lost the ball. And Auburn, for the second time in a game, got a fumble back that was laying on the ground, waiting to be recovered by Georgia Tech. That was Stacy Searles, the big right tackle, who got it back.
Bo Jackson, talked about early, gets in the crowd, usually protects the ball. He really ran into the back of a Georgia Tech player, and the ball bounced free, and it fell right into the hands of Searles, number 60. He was very fortunate to be there because there was Georgia Tech black jerseys all around the ball.
Spotted at the Auburn 47, 2nd and 10. No gain on the fumble. 3 wide receivers in the ballgame, and Washington wants to throw. And incomplete through the hands of Freddie Wagan. Pass was a little high, but he could have caught it. Let's go to New York for another college football update in Jim Nance.
Well, Mike, life has not been easy for teams in the top 10. Oklahoma losing to Miami of Florida with 10 minutes to go. Quarterback Troy Aikman's injury has been diagnosed now as a broken ankle, most likely out for the rest of the regular season. Texas 15-13 over Arkansas in the 4th quarter. Jeff Ward has 5 field goals for the Longhorns. And Air Force 35-19 over Colorado State. Looks like the Falcons will be off to their best start since 1970. A win today will make them 7-0. Let's go back to Mike and Steve.
Jim, thank you very much. 9:52 to go, and the crowd really in it now. 3rd and 10 for Auburn from their own 47. Jackson will not have the first down, and Georgia Tech's defense has held in a very big series. Ralph Malone, number 95, makes the tackle on Big Bo Jackson.
What's important is they forced Auburn to have to kick the football. That was, I imagine, the concern for the defensive coaches, the way they were just methodically going down the field. Now they've been able to force them in a punting situation. Probably will not get good field position, but they're going to get the ball.
Colbert is back to kick. And Sammy Lee waits at his 10. May not get a shot at this one either. Colbert's been very good at putting the ball out of bounds. Kicks the air out of it. Let's see if it makes the end zone. And it won't. It takes a big bounce for Auburn. They lost it. Where will they down it? Inside the 1-yard line. And now one of the officials signals it's a touchback and will go out to the 20. They bobbled that ball, Steve, or they'd have had it down at about the 1-foot line. 9:05 left. Auburn over Georgia Tech, 17-14. There you see the score from the biggest game of the day. Iowa leading Michigan 9-7. You'll be joining that game at the conclusion of Auburn-Georgia Tech. Big possession here. Dewberry to throw on first down, and it's stuffed in his face by Andre Bruce, number 93, the sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama. He saw a pass early and got up there. Andre's an outstanding special teams performer, and that time he made a great play from scrimmage.
He's made some outstanding plays today. He's put a hard rush on the quarterback on blitz plays, knocked down the ball, just played very well.
2nd and 10, Georgia Tech. Collier is the tailback. He'll have it on the delay, and nothing. Andre Bruce again in on the tackle along with Edward Phillips, 46, and number 45, Jimmy Warren, the right corner. You can see the intensity picking up for this Auburn Tiger defense. Now is the time they needed, up by 3 points with 8:37 left to go. They still have a shot at the national championship, they believe. But a second loss would do them in. 3rd down, 9.5. That's Collier in motion. 3-man rush. Dewberry escapes once, unloads, complete to Collier. Collier to the 32-yard line. First down, Georgia Tech.
Dewberry playing Houdini on that one.
What relentless talent of John Dewberry to be able to hang in there. He had a chance to run the ball. He knew that would be a question. He had to go a long distance for the 1st and 10. Watch him. He gets out. He throws the ball really off balance and hits Collier, who was far enough down the field to get the 1st and 10.
Nice grab by Corey Collier. First down, Georgia Tech. We're under 8 minutes to go. The Yellow Jackets down by 3. This is easily into the ballgame for the first time at tailback. And the big man gets it out to the 43. Easley is listed at 222. He looks more like 245. And when he gets it going, he is a load to bring down. We haven't seen Mays in a while. Remember, he had that left hand injury. And now they say he also has a turf toe. So we may not see Jerry Mays. Those are extremely painful. 1st and 10, Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets own 42. Mack, the fullback, slides off one tackle, gets to the 45. Now let's go to New York for a college football report with Pat Hayden.
Mike, Iowa has just kicked a 36-yard field goal to take a 9-7 lead in the 4th quarter. And folks, you'll see the conclusion of the Michigan-Iowa game after Auburn, Georgia Tech is over. Let's go back to Mike and Steve.
Thank you, Pat. 7 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the game. 2nd and 8, Georgia Tech from their own 45. Tech down by 3. Dewberry to throw, fakes to Collier. Now goes to the other side to Mack. 44-43 yard line of Auburn. A 12-yard gain, and Dewberry is into acting 101. He set it up beautifully.
Really did. What John Dewberry did is really make that play work. It was slow developing. He looked to the right. He had Auburn really backing on its heels and then was able to come back and make the completion. But it was Dewberry's ability to look defenders off and complete the short pass.
Charles Mack, only his 4th reception of the season. And it gives Georgia Tech a first down at the Auburn 43. Joel Carter in at fullback. He's blocking for Corey Collier. Collier gets 3 to the Auburn 40.
On the carry, number 25.
Time becoming a factor. We're at 6 minutes and 28 seconds left. Georgia Tech trying to get in a position at least to go for a 17-17 tie, but you know they want more than that. King comes back in at fullback, and Carter will check out. This is where Dewberry is so valuable. He is a terrific leader. Davenport comes in motion. They'll give it to King, the fullback, slides off one tackle and then is flattened by Jimmy Warren. Oh, what a shot by Warren. Holy cow.
Malcolm King, the fullback, 5'9", 197 sophomore. Jimmy Warren, 45, has had some good plays and a couple of questionable plays in terms of decisions, but that time he put a physical assault on Malcolm King.
Well, Malcolm wasn't hurt, but he may be late for the dance tonight.
He doesn't know where the dance is, I don't think.
3rd and 2 at the 35-yard line. Lee in motion. Collier got to the 34, but he'll be shy of the first down. And, Steve, we come up with the same situation we had last time. It's going to be 4th and a yard. They ran for it, and they didn't make it.
Last time they went with a kind of a dive and trying to jump over the top of that Auburn defensive front. Their size is 6'3", 5'11", and 6'3" across the front. Now Bill Curry's trying to figure out, they're going to take a timeout, talk about it, figure out just what play will work in this situation.
Number 40. Now, I think that's a great call. You don't want to get a play in there that's not going to work right now. This may be your last shot with 4:56 left.
As you look into the huddle, John Dewberry's doing a lot of talking, trying to communicate what plays he feels like. Now the coaches are talking to their people up in the booth to determine just what play is right for this call. Dewberry, I think, as a quarterback, as a senior, as a leader, he will have to be the confident one that that's the right play, too.
Steve, as a coach, in the first half, they threw on 3rd and short a couple of times. It would
would be a gutsy call to come out here and throw on 4th and 1, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be gutsy. I think it would be rather creative. I think you might find someone very open. But the problem is Auburn, they're going to stack inside. Do they take a blitz? If they're in a blitz package, then all of a sudden it's got to be a short pass to make it work. It's going to be a very fun play to watch. I would want to call it right now.
Something else to think about. If it is a blitz, Gary Lee is the veteran receiver out there, and he's the guy John Dewberry would be going to. He's the man he trusts.
Generally, in short yardage, they like the isolation, the trap play, or the sweep play. That's what they run in their attack.
Collier is the tailback on 4th and 1 from the Auburn 34. And Dewberry wants to throw under pressure. And he's going to be short of the first down. I don't think he made it. It looked like Dewberry lost his footing and stumbled. And where they marked him down, he'll be a yard shy. They mark it closer to the 43. Now they move it back. And it's a yard shy.
Going this way. There we go.
The Tigers have held. They'll get the football with 4:50 left.
John Dewberry really, I think, had the play, but he stumbles. I really believe that he had, he slipped. He was trying to turn sharp, trying to find that little seam, that little gap to get for the 1st and 10. He knew exactly where it was. Let's watch Pat Dye's reaction.
Up with fuel injection, turbocharger changes, new electronics, transaxle advances, you name it. He's trained to be good. He's trained to stay good. Mr. Goodwrench, no one knows your GM car better. No one.
The first-place Cowboys renew their heated rivalry with the Eagles, or see the Redskins take on the Giants among the regional games tomorrow on CBS Sports.
4 minutes, 50 seconds to go in the ball game. Auburn with its second big defensive stand has the ball back. This is Bo Jackson. Look out. Running over people. The last man he trampled was Mike Travis, the right cornerback. Michigan leading Iowa 10-9. It's now in the 4th quarter, and you'll be seeing the conclusion of that ball game when we're wrapped up here in Atlanta. Bo Jackson, 221 yards on 29 carries. I'd say he's got to be considered the best.
I think so. I think he is the best, and I think he's won the Heisman Trophy. I really believe he's the best player in America.
One of the questions at Auburn is he going to go on to football or baseball? It was a first down for Bo Jackson. Here's Washington. He's in trouble this time. Made a nice move to get away. Parker chasing him and missed. Let's go to New York for an update with Pat Hayden.
Mike, as you just said, Mike Gillette kicked a 40-yard field goal to put the Wolverines back on top 10-9 in the 4th quarter. We're going to bring you that game at the conclusion of yours. Let's go back to Mike and Steve.
Thanks, Pat. 4 minutes, 10 seconds left to go in this ball game. A 2nd and 4 for the Auburn Tigers. And that defense has been on the field a long, long time for Georgia Tech, especially in this half. They're going to have to dig in now to give the Yellow Jackets any kind of chance. Livingston, the H-back, the man in motion. Jackson, very close to the first down as he reaches the Georgia Tech 45-yard line.
By number 56, Ivory Lee.
3rd down, 1 yard to go. Part of the Auburn band that made the trip here. About 2 hours away down the road to Auburn, Alabama. In baseball, that man is compared to people like Mantle and Mays. Not to mention Superman. 30-yard, first down, Auburn and Bo Jackson. We've said a lot about Bo Jackson. Let's see what some other people have had to see about him this year around the country. Mike Wilbon of the Washington Post. Unquestionably the best back in college football today. Tough to argue with. And Michael has seen his share of college football. 31 carries, 228 yards. Well, they take him out for a breather, but he doesn't even look tired, Steve. 1st and 10 with 3:04 to go. Fullwood, no chance. Hit in the backfield by Mark Pike. And now those timeouts are going to be an important factor. Georgia Tech only has 1 left. And Auburn is just as interested in the clock as it is gaining yards. And you notice the Tigers are taking their own sweet time. Second down, 13 yards to go. 2:29 left. Parks, the tight end in motion. Here's Washington on the option. Pitches it out to Fullwood. Tried to stay in bounds and did. Rutland creamed him.
He was stopped by number 16.
Reggie Rutland, 16, really has made some fine plays today. This time working on Fullwood on the option. You see him right in the middle of your screen. He's got to go take him a one-on-one, head right to the chest, puts him out. I don't know who won that battle because they're very physical, punishing backs at Auburn. Excellent tackle by Rutland.
Great play by Fullwood to stay in bounds and keep that clock turning. Bo Jackson is back in. Fullwood is out. Auburn with 350 yards rushing today. 3rd and 11. Georgia Tech must hold to have a chance. Here comes the reverse. Wagan. Holy cow, what a call in that situation. A flag goes down. I think you're going to have a hold against Auburn, but it may be after they got the first down. We'll have to wait to see. No, they're going to bring it back. And what a terrible thing to have happen to the Tigers. No need to hold. You already had the first down and maybe the game in your pocket.
Reggie Rutland, number 16, who had just made the great tackle on Brent Fullwood. I bet Reggie felt like he was in custody. 2 of the Auburn defenders just held him up, just tried to take him out of the play. He was so frustrated by it.
Holding on the offensive team. Repeat 3rd down again.
But because they mark it off from the spot of the foul, it's 3rd and a yard. 1 break for Auburn, 1 for Georgia Tech. And we're down to 1:34 and counting. The clock running. And Georgia Tech must now hold twice in short yardage situations, we would presume. Wouldn't want to guess who's going to get the football, would you? Bo Jackson, Ricardo Ingram got a piece of him, but he's down to the 20-yard line. Another first down for Auburn. That'll stop the clock momentarily while they move the sticks. But Bo Jackson with 14 yards, another first down. And Georgia Tech only has 1 timeout left.
Another aspect of the dimensions of Bo Jackson is how he punishes people. He really just deals out so much in terms of the way he runs, his power. He's not afraid to, he's not going to go to the turf or go to the sidelines. He can dish it out as well as he can take it.
242 yards rushing for Bo Jackson, his 2nd biggest game of the season. He had 290 in the opener against Southwestern Louisiana.
There's a perfect illustration of Bo Jackson. Football player in a football uniform with a baseball cap on.
Timeout with 1:08 left. Back after this.
Today, Chevrolet is merging a world of ideas for you.
It's coming now to the USA. We're gonna wait for you today. Come and be a part of it all.
Today, Chevrolet is like an international auto show. Imported and American-built small cars, wagons, hatchbacks, convertibles, 3-, 4-, or 6-cylinder power. Nobody nowhere has more kinds of small cars than your Chevy dealer's International Auto Show.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Chevy. When do you say L.A.?
When I've got an afternoon of painting ahead of me, I say L.A.
Think it needs 2 coats.
Nah.
When do you say L.A.?
When it's open house and I'm the host, I say L.A.
Do?
Bob. But I'll change it.
From Anheuser-Busch, L.A. beer. Great taste with half the alcohol. Sometimes it's the perfect thing to say.
You can say that again.
Do?
No, Clem did.
L.A., sometimes it's the perfect thing to say.
Auburn in control with 1:08 left from Grant Field in Atlanta. The Tigers on top of Georgia Tech, 17-14. Tech has used its last timeout, and Auburn has a 1st and 10 at the 19. And the one thing left to do now is protect the football. Flags go down. A couple of right crosses thrown. Defense. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are from Auburn. Bo Jackson, who rushed for 242 yards. And from Georgia Tech, Jerry Mays. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. Also a big day for Jerry Mays. 2 touchdowns, both of Georgia Tech's scoring drives. 4th time this year, Bo Jackson has gone over 200 yards rushing. He's not in there right now, and Pat Washington will just down it. And Georgia Tech can only stand by and watch. Auburn showed a lot of character coming from behind. They had a lot of things against them. The home field advantage, the momentum. Georgia Tech was playing some great defense.
It's really an important victory for them, as all of them are, but they've got a tough task. Mississippi State next week, Florida, East Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama are all yet to come on their schedule. Bill Curry's done a great job at Georgia Tech. Sorry, Mike, he really has.
Washington just downs the ball again. And that'll be it. They won't have to run another play. Auburn, with a great display in the 2nd half, has pulled one out of the fire against the Georgia Tech team that hung in there just as long as it could. And Pat Dye will come across the field to shake hands with his friend Bill Curry. Great win for Auburn. Tough loss for Georgia Tech. Auburn will go to 5-1 on the year and probably move up in the rankings. It was a tough day for other top 10 ranked teams. Georgia Tech will fall to 4-2. There's the final. Auburn 17, Georgia Tech 14 on the Yellow Jackets home field. Now let's join number 1 against number 2, Iowa and Michigan, and Brent Musburger.
Welcome those of you who watched Auburn come back behind Bo Jackson and beat Georgia Tech 17-14. We are live in Iowa City, 7:38 left in the game. Michigan leading Iowa 10-9. The Hawkeyes have just missed an attempted field goal of 44 yards. The Wolverines run the tailback, Jamie Morris, out beyond the 30.
You know, I've been a beer drinker for a bunch of years. Like you, I've seen a lot of beer commercials. There's one beer that people loved before it was even advertised. You see, Coors was kind of the beer at my folks' place. People thought it was different, special. That was true long before there were any jingles or promotions. It's the product people love, not the hoopla. You think about that. How many products can you say that about? Coors is the one.
A dangerous chemical in public water systems. Monday on World News Tonight.
Everywhere you look in Alabama, there are signs of growth in medical research, in space exploration, in engineering and commerce, and in the financial world, a bank writing a growth story of its own, adding new services, new markets, extending into every area of the state. So it's no coincidence. Wherever there's growth in Alabama, you'll find AmSouth Bank nearby. AmSouth, where Alabama's growing.
Marcia,
Your plane leaves in an hour.
I need some changes.
We can do it.
Whatever the crisis, it's great to have a friend like the Canon AP300 electronic typewriter.
Look, the page sets up automatically.
Change 12 to 14.
Simple.
I know the limo's waiting.
Almost done. Even decimals line up automatically. You made it.
We've made it.
Oh.
Contact Al Stuckey or Paul Foshi for free demonstration. Royal Office Equipment. WKAB TV 32, Montgomery.
Well,
I guess the most memorable Alabama goal line stand against Pittsburgh would be in that 1979 Sugar Bowl game where Alabama knocked them off the top and won the national championship. Now here comes Massimo Manca. Massimo hits it, and it is good. Did I say Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Did it? Penn State, obviously. But Penn State now goes out to a 12-7 lead over Alabama. But what a big difference it is between a 5-point lead and a 6-point lead. Penn State campus.
Penn State produces winners. At the #1 morning show,
I'm Don Roy King. I'm the director of ABC's Good Morning America, and I am Penn State proud.
At the #1 black network,
Hi, I'm Ron Davenport, chairman of the board of Sheridan Broadcasting Corporation. And you can bet I'm Penn State proud.
and at a winning adventure series.
Hi, I'm Don Belisario, creator of Magnum PI, and I'm proud to be a Penn Stater.
At Penn State, we're proud of our winning tradition.
Third quarter stats.
Keith, Penn State has taken control. They've got the upper hand in all areas. The significant figure, I think, is that the rushing yards by Alabama, 58 yards. Alabama's made 1 first down in the second quarter, 1 first down in the third quarter. They've run only 16 plays in the last 2 quarters. So they've got to somehow find a way to get the offense going if they expect to be in this ball game.
To be through the air probably, and they will have the wind at their back in the final quarter. As Manca kicks off now and kicks it low, bouncing line drive that is fielded by Chester Braggs. Braggs coming back upfield with it to the 26-yard line. Well, they're going to mark him on the 24. They knocked him back from the 26.
They sure did, Keith. Well, now we're going to see just how good Mike Schuler's son can be.
That's what happened so far today with your top 10. You've got 14 minutes and 52 seconds to play in the ball game. Penn State leading by 5 points, 12-7. Al Bell hasn't seen the ball in quite a while. Ball goes to Humphrey, and he breaks it out of there and gets a first down up at the 37-yard line. And he was just a half a breath away from going all the way.
That was a lot of quickness shown by Humphrey, the freshman. Alabama, he gained more yards on that play than Alabama has made in the last 11 attempts. Only 8 yards in the last 2 quarters rushing.
Manca obviously has been the offensive weapon for Penn State today. First down, Bama. Booed out, hurt again. And it goes back to Humphrey one more time. He again finds a crease, and he's going to have 6 yards on the carry.
Humphrey made a tremendous cut right in beside Gilmer, the guard, pulling, opening up the hole, and another nice gain. Here the Crimson Tide possessions, you can see after the first quarter, they had 7 plays one time. That was 1, 3, 3, 2.
Second and 4. Well, they stay with him, and he keeps producing. That's another first down as he gets across midfield near the Penn State 47, where Ray Isom brings him down for the 2nd time in a row.
Anytime you see that type play work, give credit to the fullback block. Turner came right out and blocked out the support, opened up a nice crease for Humphrey, the freshman. He does look impressive, Keith. Very impressive. 3 nice games in a row. 10 rushes, 49 yards. About half of that's on the last 3 tries.
Whistle, stop him.
25-second clock. Boy, that hurts you. Got a little momentum going. 3 nice gains running the ball. Now you come back and put yourself in the 1st and 15.
Well, they had some new people come in. They were flexing, shifting
Here we
around.
go, delay. Offense. First down.
Probably add a checkoff call to it.
Yep. Keith, it's harder to shift in college than in professional ball because we only have 25 seconds, pro ball 30 seconds.
Humphrey again. This time he is nailed pretty much at the line of scrimmage. And the man that reached in to get him was Trey Bauer, the inside linebacker.
Oh, it's hard to run a reverse play with a linebacker blitzing, Keith. There's just not enough people to block him. They had the counter sweep called. Nothing there.
This has been a game of subtleties along the line of scrimmage, hasn't it?
Yes. You know, the pivotal area in any football game really is the line of scrimmage. Now, I know all the old offensive linemen won't be to hear that said of the defensive linemen, but that's the truth. Pivotal area.
Second down, still 15. Shula back, throws it out. Humphrey pulls it down and can't get away. And the penalty flag goes down. And look out for holding here. It could be holding or it could be roughing the quarterback. Number 31, Shane Conlon, came in and belted Mike Shula. It's against Conlon.
You called it. Conlon is probably the best pass rusher. Very much a defensive temperament player. Very aggressive. Number 31. Let's see if we can detect it. The ball is thrown and he hits him in the head, I think, with a helmet. Unnecessary roughness. Personal foul makes it a first down.
Well, he hit him. There's no question about it.
Keith, that's a big call. Boy, instead of 3rd and 12, 15, first down.
Personal foul, blow to the face.
Right.
Defense, first down.
The reason you can't hit the players in the face, Keith, that's a safety measure, trying to make our game safer.
And it gives Alabama a first down at the Penn State 38. Penn State leading 12-7 with 12:13 to play in the ball game. Fourth quarter. Shula dumps it off. Humphrey can't catch it. And he bobbled it around long enough for a Penn State man to have a dive at an interception, but couldn't get it. Duffy Cobbs. Penn State's scoring has been on 4 field goals by Massimo Manca.